subscriber to this channel, Mahmood Learn to Trade, asked me to produce a vlog on Ghaib. And whilst I'm happy to do this, I was a little thrown as my channel is really all about Ghaib. It therefore seemed a reasonable request, so here it is. Al-Ghaib is an Arabic expression of something concealed, the unseen. It's an important concept in Islam, encompassing not only the realm of Allah, but including angels, paradise and hell, but also future events. Given this Islamic context, I've chosen to present this vlog using what are often portrayed as Islamic orthodoxy, certainly as claimed, for example, by Salafis. As you know, I'm not at all clear that this is an orthodoxy, or even that there's such a thing as an Islamic orthodoxy. But it makes a change from my more Neoplatonist, Platonic approach. Nevertheless, I have a number of doubts about issuing this vlog, as so much of it fundamentally contradicts my experience and beliefs. Indeed, much that I say in this vlog will contradict what I've said in other vlogs, such as the reconciliation of heaven and hell, angels within Islam, and importing evil within Islam. Jinn, although generally invisible, are bound to earthly lives, and therefore are thought to be restricted from the unseen, as humans are. Although particularly in the Middle East, the word jinn is often used for everything, including Ghaib, included in Ghaib, and you have to include that in that, even UFOs. This does not necessarily the dominant view in Indonesia, and certainly not in Java, although it does impact on people's belief systems. Ghaib has three primary meanings taken from Al-Qu'ran. First, absent. That is so Al-Azeez will know that I do not betray him in his absence, and that Allah will guide the path of betrayers. That's 12:52. The unknown or hidden. Allah is knower of the unseen and the witness, the grand and the exalted. 13:9. The future, say I hold not for myself the power of benefit or harm, except what Allah has willed. And if I knew the unseen, I have much acquired, much wealth, and no harm would have touched me. I am not except a warner and a bringer of good tidings to people who believe. 7:188. There are two types, al-Ghaib, al-Mutlaq. Absolute Ghaib refers to all knowledge that is unseen or concealed and is only known to Allah. Al-Qu'ran again, and with him are the keys of Ghaib, all that is hidden and none knows but he. 6:52. And al-Ghaib, al-Nisbi, relative Ghaib, is unique to the individual and their situation. It is therefore apparent to some, whilst hidden for others. Therefore, many argue that a Muslim must believe in the unseen. As illustrated in the Quran, the Quran, is guidance for the righteous, for those who believe in the unseen. 2:3-4. The 6 articles of faith in Islam are belief in God, belief in angels, belief in the divine books, belief in a prophet, belief in the day of judgment, and belief in God's predestination. He said, "Did I not tell you that I know the unseen aspects of all the heavens and the earth, and know what you reveal and what you have concealed?" And that's Al-Quran 2:33. Indeed, the depiction of jinn and angels, especially as sort of sexualized females, is not only forbidden, but for some reason, takfir, that is a reason for excommunication. Whilst I don't seek to offend anyone, and certainly not to be excommunicated, I do intend to use images as they're readily available. and understandable to a wider audience. Frankly, this is the sort of semantic manipulation which I despise. It's disingenuous that in accepting certain elements of the doctrine, that we're also accepting a whole canon of beliefs which do not necessarily follow a logical or even coherent progression. Whilst I do believe in many of those beliefs that I have listed, this does not mean that my beliefs are the same as all Muslims. Indeed, I would defend the right of Muslims not to believe in these, as many would find them incompatible with modern science. Characteristics of supernatural beings and their comparison with humans would include that angels were created before jinn and jinn created before humans. Indeed, it's believed that angels helped to create humans, hence them being created before. Angels were created from light, jinn from fire, and humans from earth. All have physical bodies. Angels, jinns and humans are equally intelligent but have different levels, positions, knowledge and practices. Angels do not have lust, have no, I don't think I can say it, bleep X, do not eat, while jinns and humans both have lust and have bleep X, eat and drink, have family, reproduce, work and rest, etc. Of course, this contradicts the Christian myth of the Nephilim, which many Muslims have adopted to explain Iblis, the devil. Angels have a much stronger physical strength and speed than jinn, while jinn are stronger than humans. Jinn are able to fly only as far as the top of the sky, whilst angels reach heaven. Jinn and angels are to do something that is considered incredible by humans, often in a short space of time. For example, building of buildings. The angels are more important than jinn, both in terms of creation, form, actions and circumstances. The angel population is large, exceeding the number of jinns, humans and animals. Angels are always being obedient to Allah and characterised by praiseworthy qualities, again contradicting the story of the Nephilim. Whilst jinn and humans are given the choice and free will to obey or disobey, jinn, like humans, are ordered to carry out religious law, following the prophet, so that there are jinns who are Muslims, infidels, as well as atheists. Some are good and some are evil. Again, this is certainly not a majority view within Islam, as many believe that some jinn assist angels in their tasks that Allah has given to them. These are known as correspondences. Within this view, jinn do not belong on dunya, but between dunya and the cosmos, and therefore are better able to comprehend angels than humans. The jinn community is similar to the human community, having its own language and country, have kings and vassals, having technology and buildings. Now, I don't know about you, but I find this anthropomorphism a complete fantasy. I've got no time for this sort of thing. Angels live in the sky while jinn and humans live on earth. Just like humans, the jinn feel pain, fear, strength, weakness, birth and death. Angels, jinns and humans will experience death. Those angels who blow the trumpet will be the last to die on the day of resurrection, and also the first to be raised from the dead, to blow the horns, to blow the trumpets again in the resurrection for other creatures. For jinn and humans, their deeds will be counted, that is, accounted for, whilst living in the world. Those who believe go to heaven, and those who deny go to hell. This, however, contradicts Al-Qu'ran, which states that angels will only die when the trumpet is blown. I only mention this as I do not wish to run through the contradictions within Al-Qu'ran, merely to show that it's being used selectively to pursue an agenda. Angels, jinns and humans do not know about unseen matters, such as death, the future, the day of judgment. The prophets and the apostles are all from the human race, not from the jinn and angels. The angels are charged with taking care of the affairs of the universe, including those of humans, jinn and animals. Every human being has a companion from the jinn and angels. Angels are able to see jinn at any time, whilst jinn cannot see them except after the angel has changed into another form, shape-shifting, that can be reached by the jinn senses. But humans cannot normally see angels and jinn in their original forms unless they shapeshift, such as changing into animals, sounds, light, fire, ghosts, UFOs, even imitating the appearance of humans who have died or are still alive in the real world and the dream world. Donkeys and dogs are able to see jinn at night. So this contradicts the views of other religions, even though they seem to have so much in common on Ghaib, especially the Alhambric religions. It seems to me to be a supreme arrogance to take such a position. Jinn are capable of stealing wealth, taking revenge, kidnapping and killing humans, just as humans can harm and kill jinn. The jinn become weaker when they appear so that humans can see them, which means they can all beat them, even kill them. You may know that I disagree with this last statement. It's not my experience that man can kill angels or jinn. Certainly I would caution anyone against attempting it, if only because I believe that we should apply the same moral code to our dealings with jinn as to humans. Common Islamic belief that I don't fully accept is that the spirit of the deceased remains in the grave waiting for the day of resurrection. Partially because, like so many in Indonesia and certainly Java, is that I hold on to a form of reincarnation. This is sometimes used by jinn to take the corpse's form, to take advantage, or just to play with humans. Jinn cannot be seen by humans unless the jinn himself appears. It's just that jinn looks and chooses certain people for him to look out for, sometimes on a regular basis. The goal is for humans to think and believe that they're able to see the unseen and to begin to declare to the public that they're able to know the unseen. Jinn will communicate with the human and trick him, claiming to be the spirit of the dead person, or offering the human looking for treasure. Whilst the concept of the paranormal being shapeshifters and tricksters is common across many religions and belief systems, once again I see this as, frankly, an arrogance. These concepts are developed further by some Muslims. Frankly, I'm sceptical of how man takes a noble concept, which is almost certainly allegorical, then turns it into procedures, systems and hierarchies. But I'm repeating them for the purpose of this vlog. So there's a canon of beliefs, processes and hierarchies, which may fulfill the desire to explain Ghaib, heaven and hell, but contradicts other concepts within Islam, particularly the creation and the cosmos. Barzakh means something, a division between things or places. Its relation with the last day, Barzakh is the division between the life of dunya and the life hereafter. The natural life of Barzakh is the life between the life in this world and the life in the hereafter. So for some Muslims, life in the Barzakh realm is like a waiting room. It's the realm all souls and people who have died in preparation for entering the afterlife. It is the place of waiting, pleasure or torment applies. And of course this will be somewhat familiar with Hindus because they have the same concept. In this place of waiting, people who during their lives in the world have done many good deeds who fear Allah are said to receive pleasant treatments from angels. On the other hand, disbeliever, people whose lives in this world do a lot of evil and don't do good things, will receive harsh treatment and torment from the angels. The believer, when he is separated from the world, will go to the hereafter. An angel will descend from the sky with a white face like the sun, carrying a shroud from heaven and fragrance, a preservation for damage. They will sit down and the angel of death will come to them. The angel will sit near his head and say, "O good spirit, come out to God's forgiveness and his pleasure." Then the spirit will come out like water from a drinking vessel. For the disbeliever, when they die, an angel appears in a black form, saying, "O evil soul, come out to the wrath of God." Then their souls are violently removed. Maishara is a gathering place for examination of good deeds that have been done whilst living in the world. Padang Mashaya is a place in the form of a barren desert, hot, very dry and very wide. The air and the ground underfoot are very hot because the sun was only a few metres overhead. There's no shelter there. This concept of a desert, while it's not so well known, is common across many religions and seems to be a place where we must cross in order to move on. It's a very difficult situation. Humans can only take care of themselves. They don't care about other people, including family and friends. Each of them tries to overcome their own difficulties and suffering. Everyone is lamenting and begging Allah to relieve this immense suffering. For people who do good deeds while living in the world, Allah will provide or intercession in the form of feeling cool and speeding up their affairs. But the disbelievers, hypocrites, polytheists and immoral experts, Allah ignores them. Hisab is the calculation of all human deeds in dunya. Nothing is added and nothing is taken away. Everything is in accordance with human deeds. Recorded in the book of charity. Everyone finds out the contents of this report book, even if the person cannot read. Each human gets a report book and accepts it. Some receive from the right and some from the left. The atmosphere is very tense and frightening. It's no longer possible for people to lie or defend themselves. For the results of this calculation, the reward for human deeds is determined, and those who during their lives in the world do good deeds will get a reward in heaven, whilst those who commit crimes and disobedience and who do not believe will be punished in hell. Shirat is the dark and burning path or a bridge that stretches over hell to heaven. All humans must pass through it. Shirat is very far away. One must pass if one is a true believer. Again, this concept of a bridge between heaven and hell is somewhat common across many religions. Those who pass through Shirat are divided into two parts. The believers, disbelievers, they go straight to hell. The believers who pass it without any obstacles. Those who were initially wretched but survived it, and those who go to hell and then saved from it. Heaven is for people who sincerely worship, believe and fear Allah. Heaven is filled with fun and joy. The beauty of this world is temporary. Then the beauty and pleasure in the hereafter is eternal. I should add that some Muslims believe that Iblis, the devil, shaitan, demons, are groups of jinn who disobey and deny Allah's commands, but also invite people to commit disobedience like they do. Until the day of resurrection, Iblis and the shaitan will continue to tempt and lead people to deviate from Allah. Although Quranic verses can be found to support this belief, I cannot help but think that they've been developed from Christian evangelism, rather than being authentically Islamic. In fact, Islam has a very good concept of good and evil, based on being removed from Allah, and doesn't need to import such notions from Christian evangelism. Whilst I don't accept this literally, I do see many temptations away from Allah, but because I believe the path to Allah to be through suppressing the nafs or the ego, the temptations are more of this dunya. Indeed, I would argue that the dualism of Iblis and Shaitan from man is itself one of these temptations. In other words, a means of shifting the responsibility from the self and of not doing self-examination of one's own shadow. I've said before that I believe the scriptures to be allegorical. Indeed, they seem to be important, pointing to the importance of personal alchemy in finding Allah. Whereas in this vlog I've shared with you with how some Muslims engage in a semantic deception and pure fantasy to support their legalistic interpretation of Al-Qu'ran. Let me be clear, I'm happy for them to engage in these activities, and I'm not criticising them, despite it seeming that way. And I am inclined to say, does it matter? But you see, maybe it does. For if we co-create the universe, then these beliefs shape our creation. Sometimes when confronted by such beliefs regarding the afterlife, I will conclude that we will all find out pretty soon. But then what will we find? Will it not be exactly what we believe? For if we create, then surely we co-create beyond the temporal. And this view of mine is supported by people who have had near-death experiences. It seems to me that this is natural for humans to join the dots or fill in the gaps, even when they have no idea what they are doing. Even filling out when there's a pause in the conversation. But not to claim that this is Islamic orthodoxy, and by implication, those who actually give real thought to such issues are not Muslims. No, I disagree with that. Indeed, I strongly suspect that if we really were to comprehend the scriptures, they're telling us not to engage in this sort of fantasy. Man is engaged in attempting to explain the unknown, the non-temporal, by reference to the temporal, attempting to describe Allah's shadow via his shadow, explaining Allah's judgment while removed from Allah himself. In other words, this is an extrapolation within the temporal plane, that which is below the moon, of the non-temporal plane, i.e. Allah's domain. It's tantamount to attempting to describe Allah, even anthropomorphising him, and is therefore what I believe is dangerously close to shirk. I also need to be clear that by and large I agree with most of the principles implied in Ghaib. But as soon as man starts to engage in this fantasy, as though it were fact, is where I have to diverge. Furthermore, just because I accept the principles does not mean that I would condemn those Muslims who don't.